After something happened with my device, you started asking me if my rights were terminated. After I asked you what happened, what was the most recent report, you deflected and asked me if my rights were terminated in family court after something happened with my device. I did ask you what was the most recent report you had, and you deflected and asked me if my rights were terminated in family court when something happened with my device. I did state to you in February, that's when they claimed they did the report. I asked you about caseworkers. You said there's quite a few entries. And I asked you what was ever done with the entries to caseworkers. And you deflected and asked me if my rights were terminated when something happened with my device. So if there's quite a few entries, they're claiming that they don't have any in person. People can't get their life straight. This is why tearing a family apart, a child that has been in an abusive situation. When I go over there, she has not looked good. Her appearance has not been well. Her dad is like special needs. The stepmom is on a walker. She barely gets out. Her hair has been all over her head. Her clothes haven't been right. She just sits in the house and don't do anything. We used to go carve pumpkins, go to SeaWorld. We were active. Now she's just sitting in the house not doing anything. If anyone has cared, how traumatic would that be for a child to have this mom that you've been around and to see her get arrested out of corruption and then be stripped from her? Then, there's been child abuse involved. Knowing your mom's not safe and you got to sit in it and cover, have that been forced to cover for it? That's kind of sadistic if you know your mom's in jeopardy and you have to cover for it and you're a child. And you just have to sit and pretend like these things aren't going on.
The most recent actions and this.
So, ma'am, I did inform you that you had a caseworker that committed a crime. Making false statements to CPS is a state jail felony. Why are you guys covering for it and depriving me of the ability to be able to investigate these false statements and let James Hastings disappear? Why are you covering for the family court that has terminated my child custody rights, didn't follow the family code, wouldn't give me an attorney, terminated my rights when I wasn't present, altering documents in the family court system? Then allowing someone to abuse so much power so they don't go to prison, and coming to these locations and interrupting any kind of report of my abuse to keep my family's abuse to keep me away from my child that was terrorized by witnessing her mother's false arrest, screaming in terror at age 8. She's now 13, and the games are still being played. Why won't CPS abide by the law and investigate the criminal activity and continue to enforce these crimes? No, ma'am, they did an investigation here. We're deflecting. They turn in information to you. The investigator needs to do her part and stop trying to force me to be a CPS investigator. You guys have a responsibility. Not for you to do what you just did is a crime. If you work for CPS and you hear about a suspected child abuse and you don't report it, for you, that's a crime. You're committing a active crime right now. You just don't deflect and have someone else do your job task. If you hear that, you have a responsibility to report it and get something done, especially if there's already been previous reports. So you said that there's multiple reports that you choose not to discuss with me. It's like you're covering for it, which makes you a conspirator. If you see multiple reports, you have not yet to tell me what they are about. You have yet to give me a caseworker. You keep trying to deflect, as they've done years. So from call to call to call, for year after year, nothing, hours is done, and they are purposely trying to make sure that nothing is resolved for years. So you have stated multiple times that you have seen a lot of different things, and you have not given me one caseworker.
Can I get maybe the child please? I'll also look up to see if there's anything.
What were you seeing, ma'am, when you said that there was multiple different things?
There are cases back from like 2022.
I'm sorry?
From February of this year.
I can't hear you. Can you repeat yourself?
I'm seeing some information back from 2022, closed cases from 2022. Is there can I look at maybe the child's name?
What do you see, ma'am? You're still deflecting. You have not given me any information. You carefully articulate your words to make sure nothing is done like they've been doing for years. What do you see? What date? If you see something, why are you hiding what you see like they do in person?
Ma'am, we are not allowed to disclose any kind of case.
Okay, if I'm the parent, if you don't want to disclose information, if that's your con, how am I supposed to get something resolved if you don't want to tell me about the report? I made a report and you don't want me to know about the report? How am I going to figure it out? Okay, so let's make sure we understand this con. I have made a report and I'm asking you for the status of the investigation, and your alibi is we can't tell you.
Ma'am, can I have the child's name so I can look up the report? Because I do not see anything as of that.
Well, you said you saw something, ma'am, and you don't want me to know what you saw.
These are cases from 2022. If it's from February of this year, like you said, it is unlikely that this is going to be the same case. I'm just trying to find something more recent. So that's why I'm asking what the child's name is.
Okay, so you have the older cases for this child because you said they were in 2022. But you wanted me to give you the information even though you already see it. So you see the case for 2022, but you needed my information again even though you're looking at older cases with the same child.
Cases from 2022. I'm not going to go and read through a case from 2022.
I'm just saying that if you had compassion and sensitivity, if you're already looking at a case for the child, why would you tell me to repeat it if you already were looking at it from 2022? It hadn't changed. From 2022, it would be the same case as it is in 2023. So you're looking at the case and you're deflecting, asking me for that information again if you're already looking at a case, the same case from 2022. This is just the hardships that I've been having with customer service to make calls long and drawn out and sadistic and psychologically damning. So you have the information. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Just give me one moment.
So keep in mind, this is my child that I have who had to go over there, witness her in bad shape. And be torn away from a child I was close with. We danced. I was close with my kids. We did fireworks. We went to go look at fireworks. We were active. So this is torture. If someone is very aware of that, that's why they're not playing games with it. To enforce my abuse, you will not have nothing to do with your kids as long as I'm in control of it. And my daughter has done things to contribute to psychological damage, stepmom, that I don't even think is realistic, so I don't want to communicate. How sadistic is that to enlist the parent's own child to play mind games with them? Scams to prolong calls. So you may ask that I have from trial and error and experience. This is deliberate schemes to make the party have a meltdown. It's part of the smear campaign. So if we hit her with the same behavior over and over again, we can convince others that she's mentally ill so we don't go to prison. So we're going to scam and have family members. No one's ever going to believe it, and hit her over and over again with the same pattern. And then when she has a meltdown, you're mentally ill. That's what we want. That's the behavior we were looking for. So it's intentional psychological warfare with these cars, people blocking paths. No one would block paths. Then when I go to locations and sit down and eat or try to just enjoy life, then these repetitive movements, you can see it on camera footage. So they just jerk their body over and over again and hit me with that same behavior because it causes fear. So you're trying to enjoy a meal and try to have some satisfaction in your life. You just picture this. You and your family go to a restaurant and you're sitting and then someone's right next to you, just jerks. A sudden jerk. Okay, you dismiss it, but they kept hitting you with the same thing over and over, sitting right next to you. Then the customer service you're getting at this location is horrible. Sometimes they burn your food and then tell you not to come back, put too much pepper in it where you can't eat, and then use that to give you a criminal trespass or tell you not to come back in the scheme. I used to love Zenna's downtown. They mysteriously closed. They said that it was some kind of fire. That was vital because they stayed open late and they had great food, and it was a good caliber of people that appeared to be going there. So I could meet people at Zenna's when this first got started. So they claimed that they had some kind of fire, which had them closed for a very long time. And then when they finally opened, they were weird, removed items that I liked from the menu. They used to have boxes, and then they removed that. The McDonald's did it on Ledbetter. They closed for a long time. And then when I talked to someone about it, then they started remodeling. Because they just closed unexpectedly. Then when I discussed it with someone, they started remodeling this McDonald's that was just closed without explanation. So after years of it being closed and finally they remodeled, I went into that McDonald's. Because what I would do is I would use the Wi-Fi at McDonald's and do different things like a multitude of other people. So when it finally opened back up, it was weird like a horror movie. They had letters posted all up on the door saying that you could only be in there 30 minutes to eat your food. It was like 10 letters, like a horror movie. So then, I was going to try to do, sit in there anyway. I bought food, and then security came and tried to remove me. And I said, oh, well, I'm buying something else. He said, no, you need to get out. So this weird security dropped off, was targeting me, and told me that I could not be in the McDonald's past 30 minutes. So I tried to purchase something else, and he would deny me purchase. I'm still on hold for CPS. So can you imagine for those people that, others deem have value if the government enforced your child's abuse and you to say be away from your child that you love and miss dearly, all of your children? I miss and adore all of them and love them, but the other ones are older and scared. This one is a minor. And then you have to go over there. Whenever I did go over there, I haven't seen my daughter since my foster arrest. I used to go over there and give her money. I was very glad that I had a job so I could help my kids, but nonetheless. So when I went over there, I would see her in bad condition. And sometimes she would deliberately put on horrible outfits. So I'd worry and be furious. She deliberately wanted me to be in torture. Stepmom called and lied and told me she was missing.
Okay, Ms. Clark?
Yes.
So here's what I was able to find. The most recent case, that was around September of 2022. I cannot divulge the case information because it is confidential. I do understand your concerns, though. The last caseworker that we have on there, back from August, of this past August, is Lillian Ferguson. I'm going to give you a number for her right now.
Okay, so let me make sure. I don't understand. So the last case that you see was from when? Okay, so the one that they just did when I was in JPS Mental Hospital and I told them what they were doing was committing a crime, you don't see that?
I don't.
When they gave me case numbers. But CPS, when I call on my phone, has lied multiple times and in person. Because when I went in person, they lied and told me they didn't have any of these reports. And then they called security and scanned with security to be psychologically abusive. But here's the thing, if you're hearing all of this and you don't report it, you commit a crime. So why are so many CPS representatives and employees covering up for criminal activity? Why would you refer me over to another criminal instead of doing your job responsibility? Talking over me, deflecting on your active crime is not acceptable. Who are you contacting to let them know that it's been a conspiracy of interference with child custody crimes? Who are you going to tell that a multitude of CPS workers have been committing crimes, altering documents along with a family court? Who did you communicate that with? Who did you email it to?
Ma'am, that's confidential. Do you want to...
I'm not quite sure how I'm going to get in a resolution if every time I try to get one, people are scamming. So if I did a report and my report is confidential, any feedback on what has happened is confidential. Are you threatening to end the conversation because you got caught in crimes? Okay, so ma'am, if it's confidential and I'm doing a report, how am I going to get an update if you're making it confidential to cover for it? If I repetitively over and over keep reporting crimes and everywhere I go, they're covering for it. So they just said that they did. The first off, when I went in there, I think it was around September, they lied and said they didn't have any of the reports. Then we had Rashida committing crimes. So then they told me, because I tried to go in and get an update with Rashida. They didn't want me to get that update, so they had someone else come in that would lie and cover for Rashida not doing her investigation. But here's the thing, what you guys in the conspiracy is doing is criminal. It's criminal. No matter what kind of power, position you have, it's still crimes. These are felonies that are being hid by someone's position, power, and badges and guns. This, no matter how you sugarcoat it and cover it up, these are still racked up felonies. Going in to alter court documents so people don't, helping people not go to prison is criminal. So you and what you're doing right now is criminal because you won't report these crimes as they've been doing years. It's not just that you're deflecting. Ma'am, you're deflecting. I'm trying to let you know what you're doing is criminal. Not reporting suspected child abuse for your position is a crime. It's a state jail felony. Well, it's a class A misdemeanor. In some circumstances, a felony. So we need to discuss why you're on the line right now committing a crime. If I told you that someone from JPS reported abuse and gave me a case number from this location, and I'm calling to get an update, and you're being rude, and I'm telling you that a multitude of people have committed crimes and left a child in jeopardy for profit, and then what you choose to do is cover for it and gaslight and mistreat me and talk while I'm talking to enforce that crime, is further criminal activity on you. So what are you going to do? Because I've been reporting this child abuse ever since she witnessed my false arrest, screaming in terror in 2018. It is now 2023. And people have conned and lied and committed all kinds of crimes to keep me away from my kids for profit.
I can provide you the number for the office.
I wanted to know why you're not doing your job responsibility in reporting the suspected child abuse. If someone did a report for this location and that happened in Fort Worth and you don't see it, and gave me case numbers and it disappeared, someone is going in, breaking into your system and removing case numbers. Because repetitively, I keep reporting things and then they disappear. I went in around September until they said that they didn't see anything, and then caught scams, so a conflict, so security would have to remove me because they got caught in their lie. So if they said they didn't see it, but you see several items, so they blatantly lied. So I want to know why you're not doing your job responsibility in reporting this, because it's criminal for you not to. Let's go ahead and concentrate on you abiding by the law and reporting what I have discussed with you over the phone, since you don't see it. So you need to put some kind of email in and let someone speak with me, call me, and get these people the charges for these crimes that they've committed and gotten away with for years. So the right thing to do would be for you to send an email that James Hastings out of Hillsborough, Texas, lied and slandered to get my child custody rights taken away when he got caught in his criminal activity. The 255th District Court let him disappear. Then the other judges got spooked and didn't want to go ahead and take the fall for these crimes. Then they enlisted Mary Murphy to do it, a judge that I've never met. So instead of you reporting that, multiple caseworkers cover for it, which makes them a conspirator in the criminal activity. For you not to report that is criminal. So I'm asking for you not to break the law and report it.
The last caseworker's number?
I want you to not break the law and then send it to the ombudsman or some kind of authority that these people are committing crimes. I want you to abide by the law. I'm not being heard. If you hear about suspected child abuse, you have a responsibility to report it. Who did you email it to? That this case number, these case numbers from February also disappeared. That multiple CPS workers are lying, and then police come to interrupt my reports to enforce interference with child custody, which is a felony crime. So I want to concentrate on why you are breaking the law in this phone call. Why didn't you report to someone that someone had made a report in February, and they have now stolen that report out of the system, as well as multiple other reports? Email that over to someone so we can finally get something done that has not been done in years. My child at the young age of 8 witnessed police arresting her mom for profit and has been robbed of her mom ever since. In scams and cons. People racking up felonies left and right with no consequences.
Ma'am, you will have to either call the office.
Okay, so you're enforcing your crime and you are refusing to report it. Okay, they've now got away with the years. So you are enforcing a crime and you're refusing to report it like you are required to do by law. Okay, ma'am. So who do you want me to call? Who do you want me to call?
Okay.
Who do you want me to call, ma'am?
Okay, so the options are there's the last caseworker that worked on a case involving your family back from August. Her number is 214-331-7700.
Okay, do you want me to know her name?
In order, her name is Lillian Ferguson.
Okay, so I wrote to CPS Internal Affairs to report all you guys. They said they didn't see a report in there, period.
If you want to contact the Office of Consumer Affairs to make a complaint, you can also call.
I'm just trying to get feedback, ma'am, on why so many parties would risk their livelihood and cover for crimes. I did get a letter stating that they didn't see any of the reports. Just recently, why you can't, direct me to why all these records repetitively keep coming up missing? I do have a letter where they stated that the family court took my rights away. I was reporting all the criminal activity, the conspirators, and how I was in jail on false charges, trying to report my daughter's abuse, and police were so crooked they came and schemed an arrest to cover up for all these powerful people crimes so they don't get their charges they've racked up. So they scammed that I was fighting, and then when they realized I was recording, they arrested me for criminal trespass on my way out. The location steps away from the door. But if you guys, haven't, I imagine that you're not going to change with your current behavior unless you see consequences. Unless you actually get the felonies you've racked up. Okay, so what is the other option?
The Office of Consumer Affairs number is going to be 800-720-7777. There you'll be able to make a complaint with them. Okay? And then also, you mentioned...
How do I report you for committing a crime and not reporting the suspected child abuse, which is a Class A misdemeanor, in some circumstances a felony?
You can contact the police or the Office of Consumer Affairs.
For your crime, your active crime right now. Call the police on you. That you're choosing to break the law and not report the suspected child abuse that you just heard, and you claim you're with Child Protective Services. And then you try to deflect and then talk over me like they have been doing for years, from call to call to call, when I'm letting you know that you're committing an active crime by not reporting the suspected child abuse yourself. Okay, ma'am, I can't force people to abide by the law. I've been trying to get it done for years. Okay, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
You too.